Right now at 5, winter weather is no joke to drive in. We'll have how driving conditions in southeast Kansas fared during the near blizzard-like conditions that came across the 4 states.
And we've still got some snow-covered roadways out there. We'll talk about how road conditions are looking, how cold it's going to get today, and when we can expect a warm-up coming up.
A series of crashes in Laclede County involve up to 30 vehicles, including multiple tractor trailers.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. Still a very cold one out there. Dangerously cold wind chills to contend with, but we also still have some precipitation, some snow on some of the streets out there. So on my morning drive, came through 32nd Street in Joplin was relatively clear. I saw Rangeline still had some snow patches on it. Same with 249, 171. It's kind of hit and miss out there. MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline. One thing I want to point out, as you can see at this interchange, the traffic lights are in flash mode. So as you commute this morning until they get those reset, please approach this intersection with extreme caution. You can also see still a bit of snow out there, which will make it harder to stop, so just be prepared. All right, we also have a bit of a scrape alert this morning. We're looking at maybe a quick one out there. There was just a little bit of frost on my car this morning. Nothing too serious, though, so that's good news. And yesterday, we'll go over this a little later. We're going to talk about what a snow squall is a little later in the morning show. On average, you can see here's what we picked up in the snowfall so far. We looked at about 1 to 2 inches for parts of southeast Kansas, 2 to 3 and upwards of 5 inches in parts of southwest Missouri as well. Joplin picked up right about 2.5 inches of snow. Skywatch Storm Tracker clear of precipitation, but on the Missouri side, we still have that wind chill warning until 6 tonight, and on the Kansas and Oklahoma side, it runs until 1 this afternoon. Right now, Joplin, it's -3, feels like -22. With a wind at 14, gusting upwards of 23, so still bitterly cold, dangerously cold out there. 6 below Iola, 2 below in Miami and Neosho and Carthage, and 3 below in Lamar as we start the day. With the wind, though, feels like 23 below in Iola, 17 below in Columbus, feels like 22 below in Neosho. So as we mentioned, here in our region, we still have some snow-covered roads out there. On the southeast Kansas side, you can see what highways are impacted. Still partially covered, some wet pavement out there. Do give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. We're looking at the same story on the Missouri side, too. Save McDonald County, where they've still got some fairly well-covered roads down there. Otherwise, MoDOT reporting partly covered roads for most of the area. Now today, still cold. 11 for the high today. You can see we'll be hanging out in the single digits through most of the day. Still windy, so even in the afternoon, even though we're going to see a little more sunshine, we're looking still at those dangerously cold wind chills of 20 to 30 below, and that'll persist into this evening as temperatures drop back down to 1 for our low tonight, but it's at least on the positive side. So that's good news there. We'll have partly cloudy skies as the evening progresses. And the good news is as the evening progresses, winds will start to die down as well. And Christmas Day, a little bit warmer, high of 25. It'll still be chilly. Will be partly cloudy, but not nearly as windy and a little bit warmer than what we're seeing. As you can see as we go through the day, starting at about 12, 23 by noon, and 16 by 5. So not bad for Christmas Day compared to what we've seen, and at least no precipitation expected on Christmas Day, but we still have a little bit of cold weather to get through between here and there. There is a warm-up on the way. We'll talk about that a little later in the show as well.
I'm looking forward into that dip up into the double digits today.
Yeah.
11.
We're going to make it to 11. That's going to be nice.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, eastbound traffic on the interstate closed east of Lebanon in Laclede County when multiple tractor trailers were involved in a series of crashes around 2 Thursday afternoon. Up to 30 vehicles were involved. And in Lawrence County, Missouri, a tractor trailer overturned, blocking both eastbound lanes. Traffic was rerouted for a time near exit 38. Road conditions varied widely across southeast Kansas. In Pittsburgh, we saw some drivers struggling with streets that were snowpacked and slick. On Highway 69, drivers seemed to have an easier time, but authorities caution that drivers need to slow down and leave plenty of room to stop because they can find slick spots anywhere, and the conditions are continually changing.
It started out pretty minor. We've had some slide-offs, a few little minor accidents. Lately we've had some crashes that have come out that are getting a little more serious in nature as the roads have started to get worse.
Reddy says to stay off roads if all possible, and if you are on the roads and go into the ditch, stay in your vehicle buckled up. Both Kansas and Missouri have declared states of emergency because of the extreme cold. In Missouri, Governor Mike Parson signed an executive order preparing state resources and National Guard members to be deployed if needed, and an executive order from Kansas Governor Laura Kelly temporarily relaxes some motor carrier rules and regulations to speed up assistance. Well, due to the extreme cold, the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas modified its hours of operation. They will still be open today, but only from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for all clinic locations. And they'll close at noon on Saturday and will not reopen until Monday. Take a look at this image captured by a police dash cam in Liberty, Missouri last night. A transformer exploded in a shower of sparks, plunging nearby buildings into darkness. Evergy Electric says more than 2,000 customers were affected by power outages in the Kansas City area last night. That can be dangerous anytime, but if it leads to a loss of heat on a night like this, it could be life-threatening. A number of communities across the area have opened warming shelters for anyone who needs them. Those shelters include the Joplin Public Library. And during regular operating hours, it's providing access to warmth, books, computers, and other library offerings free of charge. Another Joplin warming center is the Watered Gardens Outreach Center.
Really, people, I mean, when temperatures reach a certain point, you're not going to get warm, right? No matter how many layers you have on, you're not going to stay warm. And then add on top of that snow, ice. This is the basics as it gets, keeping people safe and warm and even fed at this time. This is kind of a crisis need that we're trying to meet.
The Watered Gardens Warming Center will remain open as long as the wind chill is 20 degrees or lower. For a list of other warming shelters across the 4 states, you can go to KOAMnewsnow.com/weather, and we'll have more on these warming stations in our 6 o'clock hour. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Girard standout Luke Nigaman decides to stay close to home and signs to play for the Pitt State Gorillas. Plus, the holidays can not only cause stress, but unburies grief from lost loved ones. We'll have tips on how to handle this holiday stress. And if you are stressing out, you should treat yourself to a holiday gift. We'll explain why. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, the Baxter Springs Lions have a new head football coach. The school has announced that Jeff McCoy will be the leader of the program beginning in 2023. McCoy has been on the Baxter Springs staff the last 3 years, coaching the wide receivers and defensive backs. He's also made coaching stops in Pitcher, Oklahoma, and at NEO. Before that, he played at NEO before finishing his college career at Pitt State, helping the Gorillas claim the conference title in 2001. McCoy takes over for Russell Burr in Baxter Springs, who got this thing going in the right direction last year.
Learned a lot from Coach Burr. He took this thing over here a few years ago when it was in pretty bad shape, and thankfully for him, he stepped in there and took that role on, and has got us the needle moving in the right direction, and we just want to continue to move that needle. And again, we just don't want to go out there and compete. We want to win. We don't just want to be in games. We want to win games. So, and I think we'll have the ability to do that.
Girard High School football standout Luke Nigaman is staying close to home. Nigaman announced his commitment to Pitt State yesterday afternoon. The 6'3", 200-pound quarterback has been one of the best in the area the last few years. Nigaman has led Girard to a 20-2 overall record the last 2 seasons with 2 district titles and 2 regional championships. The Kansas City Chiefs have just 3 games left in the regular season. On Saturday, Chiefs will play at home hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Both of these teams have a lot to play for in the last few weeks. Chiefs are 11-3, fighting for the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. Seahawks are 7-7, trying to earn a playoff spot of their own. Kansas City has kind of had a problem with turnovers all season. They have the 3rd worst turnover differential in the NFL, and they've given it away 5 times in the last 2 games.
We've had a number of turnovers in the past how many weeks in a row, and it's been addressed. And guys need to understand this. In order to be a team that wants to exceed all expectations and go and pursue a championship, there's certain things you can't do. You can't turn over the football. We got to make sure that we're doing all the little things necessary. You got to keep two hands on it. You got to protect it at all costs. Can't give it up.
Finally, some Division I men's basketball. The Kansas Jayhawks, 10-1, ranked fourth in the nation at home against Harvard. KU wins it 68-54. Jalen Wilson scores 21 points for Kansas and also tops 1,000 points in his KU career. Still to come, Sydney, Australia goes dark in support of Ukraine as the Russian war continues on. We're going to take a look at that forecast and when we're going to warm up when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:16 on this cold Friday morning across the 4 states. As you can see, this is the MoDOT camera looking at I-44 and Rangeline. Still some snow packs on the roads out there. They're hit and miss. And also, just as a driver alert, if you're traveling, you can see that the traffic signals at this interchange are in flash modes. That means you need to stop and be prepared to stop. And with the slick roads, it may take you a second, so slow down out there this morning. In terms of scraping your car, there's just a little bit of stuff on cars, some of them this morning, so a quick scrape might be necessary. Maybe you'll just get it off with the defroster. So yesterday, we saw some snow squall warnings. That's not something we typically see down here. In fact, usually it's up north and out west. So what exactly is a snow squall? Well, it's a sudden onset of intense bursts of snow and wind that create near whiteout conditions, which leads to rapidly deteriorating road conditions. And they usually have a pretty short duration, less than a couple of hours. But during that time, they make driving very dangerous and potentially life-threatening if you run into sudden zero visibility out there and sudden slick spots. So that's what a snow squall is. Hopefully we don't see any more of those, but you never know what winter holds. All right, here's what we saw roughly around the area. Now with the drifts, it's a little harder to measure, but we've seen about 1 to 2 inches for most of southeast Kansas, some 2 to 3 inch readings, and a little further east and northwest, some of them picked up 3 to 5 inches of snow out of yesterday's storm. Nothing on the Skywatch Storm Tracker this morning except this. This is the wind chill warning, Kansas, Oklahoma until 1 o'clock today, and on the Missouri side, it runs until 6 this evening because we're still going to see dangerously cold wind chills of upwards of 20 to 30 degrees below zero. In fact, that's where we're sitting now. We're -3 is the temperature in Joplin. Clear skies. 22 below is what it feels like with a west wind at 14, gusting upwards of 23 miles an hour. Across the region, pretty much below or at zero. 6 below Iola, 3 below in Fort Scott, 2 below in Miami, and 2 below in Neosho. You factor in the wind. Here we get 23 below is what it feels like in Iola, 13 below in Parsons, 17 Columbus, and feels like 22 below in Neosho. We still have some snow-covered roads. On the Kansas side, you can see the ones marked in blue are listed as partially covered. And that covers a good chunk of these highways, and we got a little bit of covered stuff in Bourbon County, so be careful. And on the Missouri side, same situation. We've got a lot of partially covered roads, and then McDonald County still has quite a few highways that are listed as covered. So real quick, let's get through today. Heading for a high of 11. Partly cloudy, windy conditions, still leading to dangerous wind chills. And as we head into tonight, we drop back down to a low of 1 under partly cloudy skies. 20 by Christmas Eve, 25 Christmas Day, warmer by Monday. And then check out next Thursday, we get into the 60s, and we're watching thunderstorm chances. So there is some relief on the way, a little hope on the horizon. Well, they say it's the most wonderful time of the year, but it can also be the most stressful. Jackie Ibanez takes a look at what psychologists say you can do to keep from getting overwhelmed over the holidays.
'Tis the season to be jolly.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
But while the holidays are supposed to be festive, professional counselors like Mandy Doria of the University of Colorado say it can also be a time of elevated stress, as the pressures of throwing the perfect event, gift giving, and more sink in.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
According to Doria, controlling the stress starts by managing your expectations.
Really think about what's important to you and how you truly want to spend that time. And even if there are traditions you feel like you have to attend that you might not want to, make some boundaries around that. Maybe go for an hour instead of the whole event.
But what if you also have social anxiety or difficulty striking up conversation with certain family members?
Have planned ideas of what you're going to talk about with people you haven't seen. Even if you feel like a broken record, pick things that you feel comfortable sharing and stick to your boundaries.
The holidays can also trigger grief. Whether you've lost someone around this time of year or not, you can start to really miss them if there's certain traditions you did together around the holidays.
Continue those traditions the best way that you can to keep their memory moving forward in a way that feels right to you. An easy tradition to carry forward is making a recipe that your loved one liked to make.
Now, psychologists say feeling stressed is normal and you shouldn't be shamed. You can help yourself keep a level head by staying properly rested, eating a balanced diet, and exercising to release pent-up energy. And that brings us to our question for you. Are the holidays a hard time for you? You can vote yes or no. You can do so through our website, through our app, and of course take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We are back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, researchers say if you are feeling stressed, looking for gifts for this holiday season, then you should buy something for yourself. Scientists say it's often helpful to self-gift when feeling high levels of stress. Self-gifting can be anything from buying a new gadget or to taking extra time to watch TV. Researchers say people are less likely to take time for themselves when they need it the most, and rushing around leads to less time for self-care. Walking every day might help lower your risk of heart disease, but new research suggests it depends on how many steps you take. Scientists from the University of Massachusetts Amherst say older adults who take 6,000 steps daily decrease their risk of heart disease by half. Adults over 60 who took 6,000 to 9,000 steps a day cut their risk of heart disease down by 40 to 50% compared to those who only took 2,000 steps a day. The Mayo Clinic estimates an average person takes about 3,000 steps per day. Researchers say the general goal of 10,000 steps a day is not necessary to improve heart health. Well, life expectancy in the United States dropped for 2021. According to the CDC, the life expectancy of the average American fell to 76.4 years in 2021 compared to 77 years in 2020. And over 78 years in 2019. It's the shortest U.S. life expectancy since 1996. COVID-19 is largely to blame for the decline. The virus has killed more than 1 million Americans over the last 3 years. And the CDC also reported fatal overdoses from drugs like fentanyl had a sharp spike in 2021. But what's killing most Americans is heart disease, followed by cancer. That being said, women can still expect to live longer than men by about 6 years. More than 100 million people across the U.S. are under winter weather and wind chill alerts as a major potential once-in-a-generation type event sweeps across the country, bringing record low temperatures. Ivan Rodriguez tells us how to stay safe.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful and will be getting even worse over the next few days, so it's imperative that you are prepared to battle the cold. With the National Weather Service warning of life-threatening wind chill in some parts of the country, the number one thing you can do to stay safe is stay inside.
We really tell people to limit their exposure outside.
Kelly Sear, a warning coordination meteorologist with the Weather Service, says frostbite can happen even faster than you think in negative temperatures.
Combined with the strong winds, that really creates this hazardous conditions to humans. Then it's just a matter of minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and your skin can start freezing.
Also, don't get on the roads unless you have to.
Make sure you have an emergency kit in your vehicle, and that emergency kit is you're going to keep things that are going to keep you warm in the event that you do get stranded or your vehicle stalls. So you want to make sure you have the hat, the mittens, the gloves, your warm winter coat, blankets, some extra food. Make sure your cell phone is with you, an extra external battery charger for your cell phone so that you can call for help.
And take the proper precautions indoors too. Dress warmly, keep your pets inside, let your water taps drip slightly to prevent freezing pipes. If the power goes out, don't leave candles unattended, and never use generators, grills, or camp stoves indoors or near windows.
And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We've still got some slick spots on area roadways out there. We're going to take a complete look at your forecast and a warm-up on the way when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, winter weather is no joke to drive in. We'll have how driving conditions in southeast Kansas fared during the near blizzard-like conditions that came across the 4 states.
And we've still got slick roads to contend with out there, as you can see on the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline. We'll talk about those road conditions and the cold weather that we still have to deal with coming up.
And a series of crashes in Laclede County involves up to 30 vehicles, including multiple tractor trailers.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So if you're just waking up, if you're going out for the newspaper or anything like that, it is still cold. In fact, it's still dangerously cold outside just because of the fact that we still have those very cold temperatures and we still have a gusty wind, making for dangerously cold wind chills. As we were showing you at the beginning there, you can see that there are still some snow-packed areas on roadways across the region. And just as a heads up for drivers on Rangeline, you can see that the signals at the diverging diamond there are in flash mode and there's snow. So you need to slow down, give yourself plenty of time to stop for those and make sure that you do stop. Make sure it's clear until MoDOT crews can get out there and reset those. A little bit of stuff on your windshield possible this morning, so a quick scrape may be necessary, but it shouldn't take too much of your time. Here's a quick look at some of the snowfall totals we saw across the area, anywhere from 1 to 5 inches, as you can see. Some of us got a little more, some of us got a little less out there, but everybody got a little bit of something. Okay, there we go. The weather computer froze up for a second. We have wind chill warnings on the Kansas and Oklahoma side. They run until 1 o'clock this afternoon, and on the Missouri side through 6 this evening. So we'll continue to see gusty winds and wind chills pushing down to that 20 to 30 below range. We're 3 below in Joplin right now. Clear skies, feels like 22 below. The wind is 14 out of the west, gusting to 23. Temperatures across the area look like this: 5 below Iola, 2 below in Chanute, 2 below in Chatopa, 0 in Bonita Grove, 2 below in Miami, 3 in Neosho, and 3 below in Carthage. I don't think I need to say below for all these. I think everybody kind of gets the fact that it is cold. Same with the wind chills. We're looking at 24 below in Iola, 20 Chanute, 19 Columbus, and 22 in Neosho, so it is frigid out there. KDOT still reporting, the most part, some partially covered roadways and highways in southeast Kansas across a good portion of it. So do be cautious if you are out driving this morning. And we're seeing the same thing on the Missouri side as well. A number of still partially covered roadways out there. And McDonald County still reporting most of their highways, state highways down there as covered. So slow down. Give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. It's not a race. We're looking at a high of 11 degrees today with a little more sunshine, partly cloudy, windy, so those dangerous wind chills will continue through the day. And as we head into tonight, wind will eventually start to calm down a bit, heading for a low of 1 under partly cloudy skies. And I wanted to show you the 7-day real quick because there's hope on the horizon. So 20 Christmas Eve, 25 Christmas Day, maybe a wintry mix on Monday, 32, 44 by Tuesday, 53 Wednesday with some showers, and then 62 next Thursday. Then overnight low before that at 50. And we're watching some thunderstorm chances. So Mother Nature, not really sure what she's doing right now. Kind of giving us at least 2 different seasons within 1 week, possibly 3 different seasons within 1 week. So we'll see what happens here.
It's happening. We just got to make it through this bitter cold this weekend.
It's definitely going to be chilly. And even with the sunshine, because it is so cold, not all that stuff's going to melt on its own. So it's going to be up to plow crews to clear those roads. So give yourself plenty of time. Be careful out there.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, eastbound traffic on the interstate closed east of Lebanon in Laclede County when multiple tractor trailers were involved in a series of crashes around 2 Thursday afternoon. Up to 30 vehicles were involved. And in Lawrence County, Missouri, a tractor trailer overturned, blocking both eastbound lanes. Traffic was rerouted for a time near exit 38. Well, KOAM's Carrie Worthen takes us into southeast Kansas to check on the road conditions.
In Pittsburgh, we saw drivers struggling with streets that are snow-packed and slick. On Highway 69, drivers seem to have an easier time. Law officers have worked single vehicle crashes off in ditches, striking objects, and multiple vehicle crashes at intersections.
It started out pretty minor. We've had some slide-offs, a few little minor accidents. Lately, we've had some crashes that have come out that are getting a little more serious in nature as the roads have started to get worse.
But authorities caution that drivers need to slow down and leave plenty of room to stop, because they can find slick spots anywhere. And the conditions are continually changing. Authorities want to make sure you have a plan of action if you have to get out in this wintry weather.
If you do go off the road, please stay in your vehicle and stay warm if you're able to. Stay seat belted in. Do not get out of the vehicle and try to inspect everything as the roads are worse.
In Pittsburgh, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
You can find a link to resources for road conditions all around the 4 states on KOAMnewsnow.com/weather. Well, both Kansas and Missouri have declared states of emergency because of the extreme cold. In Missouri, Governor Mike Parson signed an executive order preparing state resources and National Guard members to be deployed if needed. And an executive order from Kansas Governor Laura Kelly temporarily relaxes some motor carrier rules and regulations to speed up assistance. Well, due to the extreme cold, the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas modified its hours of operation. They'll still be open today, but only from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for all clinic locations. They'll close at noon on Saturday and will not reopen until Monday. Take a look at this image captured by a police dash cam in Liberty, Missouri last night. A transformer exploded in a shower of sparks, plunging nearby buildings into darkness. Evergy Electric says more than 2,000 customers have been affected by power outages in the Kansas City area. This can be dangerous at any time, but if it leads to a loss of heat on a night like this, it could be life-threatening. Wow. Well, this morning we're discussing coping with the holidays.
Now, 'tis the season to be jolly, but while the holidays are supposed to be festive, professional counselors say it can also be a time of elevated stress as the pressures of throwing the perfect event, gift giving, and more sink in.
Controlling the stress starts by managing your expectations, but what if you also have social anxiety or difficulty striking up conversation with certain family members? Have a planned idea of what you're going to talk about with people you haven't seen. Pick things you feel comfortable with, and most importantly, stick to your boundaries.
Now, the holidays can also trigger grief. Whether you've lost someone around this time of year or not, you can start to really miss them if there's certain traditions you did together around the holidays. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Are the holidays a hard time for you? Yes or no? So far, 75% of you say they are a bit stressful, and 25% of you say they're not that big of a deal. Make sure you vote through our website, through our app, and of course take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
All right. Well, so coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, National Treasure has 2 movies and now a TV show. We'll get a sneak peek of what this TV show holds for the series.
Plus, some cities in Poland undergo a unique and sweet transformation. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, some of Australia's most famous landmarks go dark in a show of support for Ukraine. On Wednesday, the lights on the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge were switched off in solidarity with citizens in the war-torn country who are experiencing regular blackouts. Russian forces have been targeting Ukraine's electricity and water infrastructure, cutting power to residential areas, making living conditions difficult as the winter months roll in. European Union buildings in Brussels went dark on Wednesday as part of a global campaign in support of Ukraine. The lights were switched off after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on nations to show solidarity with his country. This as the war-torn country faces widespread power outages from Russian airstrikes. The hashtag Light Up Ukraine initiative was observed in several other cities across the world, with iconic buildings turning off their lights in support of Kyiv. The United States' new $1.8 billion military aid package for Ukraine includes Patriot surface-to-air missiles for the first time. The announcement was made Wednesday, the same day Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the United States, where he met with President Biden, Speaker Pelosi, and addressed Congress. The aid package also includes precision guide bombs for fighter jets, which will help bolster Ukraine's air defenses as Russian forces continue dropping missiles, taking out power and water as the winter months roll in. Well, how sweet it is for the holiday season. Time to board the train to Candyland. A Polish miniature railway company created a gingerbread city to spread holiday cheer and satisfy your sweet tooth. Everything is edible, from buildings decorated in colored icing to trains made of chocolate. The city is complete with churches, houses, recreations of medieval town halls, and even a zoo and a castle. There are fairy tale figurines of Hansel and Gretel and Little Red Riding Hood. The company built the holiday sets at its locations in Gliwice and in Wrocław in Poland's south and took inspiration from them. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Well, I wish I had better news for today, but unfortunately, I do not have better news for today. It's still cold. We're also still dealing with some snow on the roads. Most of us are seeing partially covered roadways is what's being reported across the region. And as you can see, this is partially covered on the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline. And I've been pointing it out this morning. As you travel, do note that the lights at this interchange are in that flash mode, which means you need to come to a stop and then proceed if it's clear. And because it's snow-packed still, you need to give yourself plenty of time to stop until the MoDOT crews can get out there and reset those lights. You might have to do a little scraping this morning, but it shouldn't take too much extra time. I had just a wee bit of a covering on my windshield, and it was cleared very easily. But just be prepared for that. Here's what we saw snow total-wise across the region, anywhere from 1, even upwards of 5 inches for some of us across the region. Not everybody got a ton of snow, but everybody got a little bit of something out of yesterday's system. Skywatch Storm Tracker is quiet for now, but it still has this bright color on it. For Kansas and Oklahoma, it's a wind chill warning through 1 o'clock today on the Missouri side, wind chill warning through 6 o'clock, because we're still going to see gusty winds, and that means that we're going to see wind chill still at 20 to 30 below. In fact, that's what we're looking at. We got 3 below in Joplin right now. Clear skies, feels like negative 22 with a west wind at 14, gusting to 23 miles an hour. Across the region, I'm going to just say below once because everybody's in that below stage. 5 below Iola, 4 Pittsburgh, 4 Lamar, 3 in Carthage, 2 in Miami, and 3 in Neosho. We're sitting at 0 in Grove and Newata, so a little bit warmer down south. With the wind chill, again, just below once. 24 below is what it feels like in Iola, 20 Chanute, 14 Parsons, 23 Lamar, and 22 down in Neosho as we start our day. So as we talked about, on KDOT's traveler page, here's what we're looking at. We've got still mostly partially covered roadways across most of southeast Kansas. So do be cautious if you're out driving. You could run into some slick spots out there, and of course, before the sun comes up, they're going to be a lot harder to see. Lots of roadways impacted across the state of Missouri as well. And as you can see on the southwest Missouri side, same situation. Most of us in that partly covered range, except for McDonald County, still reporting a number of their state highways as covered. So slow down, give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. It's not a race. Just get there safe. We're looking at a whopping 11 degrees for our high today. Partly cloudy skies, so a little more sunshine out there. And still windy. So again, even through the day, wind chills 20, 30 below are still possible. Wind will try to subside through the night. We drop back down to 1 under partly cloudy skies. And I know everybody's wondering about Christmas Day. Here's what we're looking at so far, which is kind of crazy. The high is 25 is what we're expecting. Be 12 at 7 a.m., 23 by noon, and 16 by 5. So still cold, but partly cloudy skies out there. Let's look at the 7-day real quick, shall we? All right, 20 for Christmas Eve. We covered Christmas Day. Wintry mix possible Monday, 32. 44 Tuesday, partly cloudy. Maybe some showers Wednesday, 53. Maybe some thunderstorms Thursday, 62. Thunderstorms Friday, and 60. And we're back into the 50s for the New Year's weekend. So just a wild ride ahead for us, but there is some warmer weather on the horizon. We're back with more right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Road conditions varied widely across southeast Kansas. In Pittsburgh, we saw some drivers struggling with streets that were snow-packed and slick. On 69 highway, drivers seemed to have an easier time, but authorities caution drivers need to slow down and leave plenty of room to stop because you can find slick spots anywhere, and conditions are continually changing. Eastbound traffic on the interstate closed east of Lebanon in Laclede County yesterday when multiple tractor trailers were involved in a series of crashes. It happened around 2 Thursday afternoon. Up to 30 vehicles were involved. And in Lawrence County, Missouri, a semi overturned blocking both eastbound lanes. Traffic was rerouted for a time near exit 38. A number of communities across the area have opened warming shelters for anyone who needs them, and those shelters include the Joplin Public Library. During regular operating hours, it's providing access to warmth, books, computers, and other library offerings free of charge. Another Joplin Warming Center is the Watered Gardens Outreach Center. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Well, like in many places, it was all hands on deck this week in Waterloo, Iowa for a local TV station's coverage of the blizzard there. That came much to the irritation of KWWL sports anchor Mark Woodley. He was pressed into service to cover the severe winter weather, and during every live report, he did little to hide his dissatisfaction with the assignment. Check this out.
What better time to ask the sports guy to come in about 5 hours earlier than he would normally wake up, go stand out in the wind and the snow and the cold, and tell other people not to do the same.
Mark, how you feeling out there?
Again, the same way I felt about 8 minutes ago when you asked me that same question. You know, I'm used to these evening shows that are only 30 minutes long, and generally on those shows I'm inside. So this is a really long show. Tune in for the next couple hours to watch me progressively get crankier and crankier. How do I get that Storm Chaser 7 duty? I feel like Clint got the better end of that deal. You know, that thing's heated. The outdoors currently is not heated. Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is that I can still feel my face right now. The bad news is I kind of wish I couldn't. Can I go back to my regular job? I'm pretty sure, Ryan, that you guys added an extra hour to this show just because somebody likes torturing me, because compared to 2.5 hours ago, it is just getting colder and colder. Live in Waterloo for the last time this morning, thankfully, I'm Mark Woodley, News 7 KWWL.
Feel guilty sending Amber out yesterday, but she genuinely was having fun. We'll give her that. She said she enjoyed it, even though it was brutally cold. Well, Woodley's brutally honest reports drew a host of admirers on social media. Well, a pet turtle steals the show as the flower girl at her owner's wedding. All right, check this out. The nearly 25-year-old turtle colors dazzled the 150 guests strutting for part of the aisle before her owner, the groom, Paul McDonald. Oh, he's holding her there. You can see her. He joined her for the rest of the walk. McDonald says he knew Colors, that's the name of the turtle, was excited about the role because she kept her head out of her shell the entire time. McDonald rescued Colors from a busy parking lot when he was just 8 years old. And they have been together ever since. Who did he marry here? Not Colors. Anyway, the hit National Treasure films have sparked a new chapter of historical artifact seeking, but with a young adult twist. Rick Demagella has a look.
This holds a clue to a treasure of utmost importance.
A new generation of artifact hunters hit the small screen in National Treasure: Edge of History.
So we're talking like an honest-to-God treasure map.
Yeah. The series is a sequel to the popular film franchise and follows a young woman seeking the truth behind her parents' mysterious past.
She encounters this, gentleman who tells her that her father maybe has something to do with this great lost Mesoamerican treasure. So she takes it upon herself and all the courage that she has to go after it. So she's very determined, brave, and has a big heart.
Catherine Zeta-Jones plays the black market antiquities dealer trying to claim the treasure as her own.
What the writers did is that they took all those wonderful elements that made it so much fun, the twist of humor, the kind of intrigue, the roller coaster ride, the adventure, and then injected a new kind of energy into it, 20 years on.
Zeta-Jones admits that treasure hunting is also one of her favorite off-screen pastimes.
I'm always constantly in search of the treasure, whether it be in a flea market in Paris or a souk in Morocco. I'm going to find something that no one else has found, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be historic. So it kind of feeds into what I love to do in my life. I want that relic.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Demage.
Someone please tell Catherine we need to go shopping sometime. My favorite pastimes are perusing flea markets in Paris and Morocco. We need to go together. Episodes of National Treasure: Edge of History are available to stream every Wednesday on Disney+. I did not know this. I'm going to check it out with my kids. We'll be right back with an Egyptian summer solstice and more right after this. We'll talk about a Hail Mary. Researchers say a zebra shark at Chicago's Shedd Aquarium had virgin births, and it's only the second known case of asexual reproduction by a female shark when males were available. The shark, named Bubbles, rejected the eligible bachelors and chose Parthenogenesis, a process in which a female fertilizes an egg on her own. You go, girl. It's common for invertebrates like starfish, but rare among vertebrates. Co-author of the study said they knew sharks could reproduce asexually, but much is unknown, including why it happens or what triggers it. They thought it was a last-ditch option when no males were available, but that was not the case here. I wonder if they named one of the baby sharks Jesus. Silence. Okay. Hundreds of people flocked to an Egyptian city to witness an annual phenomenon. They watched the sunrise line up with the axes of an ancient temple in Luxor for the winter solstice. What an experience. Many tourists were overwhelmed by the experience. I would be.
I certainly hope they did not name that shark that, but okay, whatever.
Why not? At least don't name it Baby Shark.
That's okay. Good call. Real quick, wind chill warnings continue today. 11 for the high, partly cloudy. Wind chills 20 to 30 below, still possible. Winds calm down a bit tonight. Partly cloudy skies down to 1 for the low. We'll be back with a lot more of the KOAM morning news right after this.
Right now at 6, severe winter weather brings nasty road conditions and some tricky traffic situations. Drive slow if you have to get out.
And you can see on the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline, still some snow on those roads. You're going to need to take it slow. We'll take a look at current road conditions and today's forecast coming up.
And in times of extreme cold, there are places that will open their doors to provide comfort and warmth to those in need. Jalen Banks takes us inside 2 of them.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It's 6 o'clock on this finally Friday in the 4 states. And boy, it is another good day to just stay inside because it is cold and some of the roads are still a bit dangerous to drive on. MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline, you can see there's still snow at that diverging diamond. And also, as we've been pointing out this morning, you can see the signals there are in that flash mode, which means you need to stop. And with some of that snow, you're going to need to give yourself plenty of time to stop as you approach those lights until the MoDOT crews can get out there and work their magic and get them reset. You might have to do a little scraping on your car this morning, but it shouldn't be anything too crazy, which is good. There was just a little bit of frost on mine this morning. It was gone within just a couple of minutes, if even. All right, snow across the area, anywhere from 1 to 5 inches. Some of us got a little, some of us got a lot. Everybody got something out of this system, and we're still getting something out of it. It's left us the gift of dangerously cold wind chills. We've got wind chill warnings, Kansas, Oklahoma through 1, and on the Missouri side through 6, because we could still see those wind chills dropping to 20 to 30 below. 3 below in Joplin right now, feels like 22 below. West wind at 13 miles an hour out there. Temperatures across the area, not too, well, okay, that's a lie. They're terrible. We are 5 below Iola, 4 Pittsburgh, 2 Miami, 2 Neosho, 3 below in Carthage, and sitting at 0 in Veneta and Grove. So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with not too bad because they're terrible. Take a look at feels like temperatures, too. Not any better. This is the serious part. This is what we're talking about. These are dangerously cold wind chills, so do not be out unless you have to be. Right, it feels like 24 below Iola, 19 Pittsburgh, 22 Neosho, and 17 below in Miami. In southeast Kansas, KDOT's still reporting a number of partly covered roadways across the area. So slow down, give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. And it's the same situation on the Missouri side as well, where we've still got a number of partly covered roadways. You're going to hit slick spots out there. McDonald County, though, still at this time reporting covered highways down there. 11 today for the high under partly cloudy skies, so a little more sunshine out there, but still breezy, so wind chills even during the day, still pushing 20, 30 below. Wind will start to calm down tonight. We drop back down to a low of 1 under partly cloudy skies. I wanted to show you the hope on the horizon. 20 Christmas Eve, 25 Christmas Day, 32 Monday, maybe a wintry mix, 44 Tuesday, 53 by Wednesday, maybe some showers. And then we're even tracking the possibility of thunderstorms by the end of next week. And look at Thursday, 62. A week after our snowstorm, our winter storm, we're going to transition to 62 and the possibility of thunderstorms.
You know, it's going to warm up a little bit tomorrow, but I'm curious what the wind chill will be for Santa while he's flying that sleigh.
Boy, you know, depending on how high he flies, it's going to be pretty darn chilly, but he's also got a fairly large fluffy beard, and I know he dresses very warmly, so he's probably very prepared for this stuff.
I think there's a reason why Santa is required to have lots of layers, like not just clothing.
Yeah, I think so. He knows how to play it safe, and if you've got to be out, you play it safe as well.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, both Kansas and Missouri have declared states of emergency because of the extreme cold. In Missouri, Governor Mike Parson signed an executive order preparing state resources and National Guard members to be deployed if needed. And an executive order from Kansas Governor Laura Kelly temporarily relaxes some motor carrier rules and regulations to speed up assistance. The extreme cold also wreaked havoc on our roadways on Thursday. Shannon Becker braved the freezing temperatures to hit the streets of Joplin and filed this report.
Let's take a look at these road conditions for the rest of the night tonight and what you can expect tomorrow morning. You can see the main roads are generally clear as we're traveling just outside the Joplin city limits on West 7th Street. But what do we see on the side roads? They're still snow covered. So under this snow, patches of ice. Drive with caution if you need to get out. Numerous slide-offs and crashes have continued all evening. And due to the cold temperatures, not all crashed vehicles are being towed at this time. MoDOT tells us if a vehicle is out of the way and they've checked on it, they'll mark it with yellow caution tape. So do not call 911 again. On the interstate, there's less traffic and the lanes are clear, but dangerously cold temperatures. And again, authorities say if you don't have to get out, then stay home. In Jasper County, I'm Shannon Becker for KOAM News Now.
All right, thank you so much, Shannon. For Southeast Kansas, road conditions, well, they varied widely. In Pittsburgh, we saw some drivers struggle with streets that were snow-packed and slick. On 69 highway, drivers seemed to have an easier time, but authorities caution that drivers need to slow down and leave plenty of room to stop because they can find slick spots anywhere.
It started out pretty minor. We've had some slide-offs, a few little minor accidents. Lately, we've had some crashes that have come out that are getting a little more serious in nature as the roads have started to get worse.
Trooper Reddy says to stay off roads if all possible, and if you're on the roads and go into the ditch, to stay in your vehicle, stay buckled up. That advice also holds for today, especially with road conditions changing and temperatures remaining below freezing. Eastbound traffic on the interstate closed east of Lebanon in Laclede County when multiple tractor trailers were involved in a series of crashes around 2 Thursday afternoon. Up to 30 vehicles were involved. And in Lawrence County, Missouri, a semi overturned, blocking both eastbound lanes. Traffic was rerouted for a time near exit 38. A number of communities across the area have opened warming shelters for anyone who needs them. Those shelters include the Joplin Public Library. During regular operating hours, it's providing access to warmth, books, computers, and other library offerings free of charge. Another Joplin warming center is the Watered Gardens Outreach Center.
Really, people, I mean, when temperatures reach a certain point, you're not going to get warm, right? No matter how many layers you have on, you're not going to stay warm. And then add on top of that snow, ice. This is the basics as it gets, keeping people safe and warm and even fed at this time. This is kind of a crisis need that we're trying to meet.
Open as long as the wind chill is 20 degrees or lower. For a list of other warming shelters across the 4 states, you can go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/weather. Later in the show, Jalen Banks takes us for a closer look at those shelters providing warmth and comfort to people in need. Well, the 4 states has seen up close and personal what this winter storm looks like, but we're not the only ones who've been impacted by what many are calling a once-in-a-generation storm. Frigid temperatures in Texas led to power outages, leaving some residents in the dark on the coldest day of the season so far. Heavy snow and wind qualls blasted through the Midwest, causing many shoppers in Indiana to make a mad dash to the stores for last-minute groceries and propane tanks to keep warm. Even after the storm passes, the frigid cold will remain for days. We'll have more on the story when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the January 6th House Committee releases its final report on the 2021 Capitol attack, lays responsibility at the feet of former President Donald Trump. Plus, according to one new study, the neighborhood where a person lived as a young child could determine the risk of obesity. We'll have details. And Chris has more on these sub-zero temperatures freezing the 4 states. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping Nation Watch this morning, the House Select Committee probing the January 6th assault on the Capitol released its final report late Thursday, ending the nearly 18-month investigation. The report concludes the central cause of January 6th was one man, former President Donald Trump, who many others followed. Willie James Inman has the story.
After a nearly 18-month investigation, the House Select Committee on the January 6th Capitol attack has released its final report.
I think you'll see that it's very comprehensive, that it's thorough in its presentation.
The report says that former President Donald Trump criminally engaged in a multi-part conspiracy to overturn the lawful results of the 2020 presidential election. It also says he failed to act to stop his supporters from attacking the Capitol. The report comes just days after the panel unanimously voted to recommend the Department of Justice pursue 4 criminal charges against former President Donald Trump.
There are 9 ayes and 0 noes.
The recommended charges relate to his alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. They include obstruction of an official proceeding and conspiracy to defraud the United States. The final report is the result of a huge effort by the bipartisan committee. It conducted about 1,200 interviews and collected more than 1 million documents. On Thursday, the committee released a transcript of the testimony from Cassidy Hutchinson, the former aide to Mark Meadows. It comes a day after the committee released dozens of other witness testimonies, including Jeffrey Clark, a senior official in the Trump Justice Department, and for John Eastman, a former law professor. Trump maintains he did nothing wrong on January 6th and has repeatedly called the committee's investigation a witch hunt. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
House Republicans issued their own report focused on security failures on January 6th. They blamed Capitol Police leadership and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for not protecting the Capitol. And they say Capitol Police did not receive proper training to handle a situation like the attack. That's a look at one of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, it's still cold out there, and we've still got wind chill warnings for today. So today, by the way, is another alert day for us. It's 3 below in Joplin, feeling like 22 below right now with a west wind at 13 miles an hour. Across the region, it is bitterly cold. It is dangerously cold. -5 in Iola, 1 Chanute, 2 Parsons, 2 Miami, 2 below in Neosho, and 3 in Carthage. But we got some zeros out there, Jay, Grove, and Veneta. And you factor in the wind that we're getting, even a light breeze is still making it pretty chilly. Feels like 24 below in Iola, 22 Yates Center, 19 in Parsons, 17 Miami, and 23 in Carthage. So it is dangerously cold out there still. We also still have some slick, where was I going with that word? Slick spots on the road. So taking a look at KDOT transportation information, you can see a number of the highways in southeast Kansas still listed as partially covered out there. So be cautious if you're driving. And we're still looking at the same thing on the Missouri side here in southwest Missouri. Most of these highways are still listed as partially covered. And McDonald County, again, still reporting some of the highways down there as covered. So slow down. Give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Heading for a high of 11 today. Will still be breezy, so those -20, -30 degree wind chills will hold on through the day. Partly cloudy though, so a little more sunshine out there. Winds will start to calm down a bit tonight. We drop back down to a low of 1 under partly cloudy skies. And I know Christmas Day, it's hard to believe it's almost here. We're looking at a high of 25 degrees. We're going to start the day at about 12, 23 by noon, 16 by 5, and we're looking to be partly cloudy on Christmas Day. So again, a little more sunshine. We got hope on the horizon though. So 20 for Christmas Eve, 32 on Monday, perhaps a wintry mix, 44 by Tuesday, maybe some showers Wednesday, 53, and then take a look at Thursday, 62. We're watching the possibility of a few showers and thunderstorms on Thursday. And look at Wednesday night. We only dropped back down to 50 after being 33 the night before. So hope on the horizon, some abnormally warm temperatures on the way. We'll take another complete look at your winter forecast and the rest of the week when we come back.
Topping Health Watch this morning, COVID antiviral drug molnupiravir may not be as effective as hoped, and that's according to new data published in The Lancet. Study looked at more than 25,000 cases and found that the medication did not decrease deaths or hospital admissions for high-risk vaccinated COVID patients, but the drug did help with recovery. Those who took molnupiravir recovered an average of more than 4 days faster than those who did not take the drug. Well, the neighborhood where you live as a young child could determine your risk of obesity through adolescence. A Harvard study looked at more than 20,000 children and found that those who were born into neighborhoods with higher opportunity had a lower average body mass index over time than those who lived in more vulnerable areas. Pregnant women who stick to a Mediterranean diet have a lower risk of preeclampsia or high blood pressure. A new study out of Cedars-Sinai Medical Center looked at women who followed the anti-inflammatory diet while pregnant, which is heavy on vegetables, whole grains, fish, and olive oil. They found an overall lower risk of pregnancy complications, including a 28% lower risk of preeclampsia. The diet was also associated with a lower risk of gestational diabetes. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Yeah, we've still got an alert day for us today because we still have dangerously cold wind chills to contend with, which is why for Kansas and Oklahoma, we have a wind chill warning through 1 o'clock. And on the Missouri side, it runs through 6 this evening because winds will still be gusting up there and we'll still see those wind chills 20, 30 below. We are 3 below in Joplin, feels like 22 below right now with a west breeze at 13 miles an hour. Temperatures across the area are bitterly cold, dangerously cold. We have 5 below Iola, 5 Fort Scott, 3 Pittsburgh, 2 in Miami, 3 in Neosho, and 3 below in Carthage this morning. And then you factor in the wind, feels like 24 below in Iola, 20 Chanute, 16 Miami, 23 Lamar, and 23 below in Nevada. We're also still dealing with a large number of partly covered roadways across the area. Southeast Kansas, you can see the majority of the roadways, the highways here, are still listed as partially covered. So take your time, slow down, make sure you get time to get where you're going. And it's the same on the Missouri side, still reporting a number of partly covered highways in the southwest Missouri area. And McDonald County, again, still reporting some covered highways down there. So give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. For today, we're heading for a high of 11 degrees. It'll still be breezy, partly cloudy. Wind chills, again, 20 to 30 below zero out there. And tonight, the wind will start to calm down a bit. We drop back down to a low of 1 under partly cloudy skies. And as we look at the 7-day forecast, we're looking at 20 for Christmas Eve, 25 for Christmas Day, 32 on Monday, maybe a wintry mix, 44 by Tuesday. You see a slow warming trend here. 53 by Wednesday, maybe some showers, 62 on Thursday, watching the possibility of thunderstorms. And as we stretch this out, look at all of this warmer weather as we head into the New York weekend. The New Year's Eve weekend. Same thing, because some of you may be celebrating in Times Square. You never know. We're looking at thunderstorms possibly on Friday and 60, and we're looking at rain shower chances, unfortunately, through the New Year's Eve weekend. However, we're also looking at much milder temperatures as we'll be sitting in the 50s by the next holiday weekend. We got a lot more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6:30, severe winter weather brings nasty road conditions and some tricky traffic situations. Drive slow if you have to get out.
And you can see those tricky traffic situations. We still have some snow here. This is I-44 and Range Line on that road, so you need to slow down, take your time. We'll take a look at road conditions and our cold forecast coming up.
And in times of extreme cold, there are places that will open their doors to provide comfort and warmth to those in need. Jalen Banks takes us inside 2 of them.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So another cold one, as we've been saying all morning. It is an alert day today. Because we still have wind chill warnings. We're still looking at dangerously cold wind chills across the area as well. Just because, man, it's just going to stay cold for us today. MoDOT camera I-44 and Range Line, you can see there's still some snow on the roadways. And as we've been emphasizing this morning, this is the diverging diamond on the north side of the interstate. Those lights have been in flash mode all morning. So you need to give yourself plenty of time to slow down and stop, and then proceed. You need to make sure you stop until MoDOT crews get out there and get those reset for us. If you're driving, you might need to do a little scraping on your car. We're not looking at anything too serious this morning, but some of us may have a little something on there we got to get off. Otherwise, not bad. Here's a look at what we saw snow-wise across the area, anywhere from 1 upwards of 5 inches for some. Some of us got a little, some of us got a lot. Everybody got a little bit of something out of the snow yesterday. Skywatch Storm Tracker clear, but it is showing us this. On the Kansas and Oklahoma side, that's a wind chill warning through 1 o'clock today. And on the Missouri side, it runs through 6 o'clock. And that is because we are going to see those dangerously cold wind chills of, say, 20 to 30 below again. We're 3 below in Joplin right now. Feels like 22 below with a west wind at 13 miles an hour. Across the region, still dangerously cold temperatures even without a wind chill. -5 in Iola. 3 below Pittsburgh, 2 Miami, 3 Neosho, and 4 below in Lamar. Factor in the wind. We got 24 below in Iola, 16 Pittsburgh, 16 Miami. Feels like 23 below in Lamar. All right, taking a look at KDOT road conditions. You can see we've still got a number of highways in southeast Kansas listed as partially covered across the area, so do give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. And we're seeing the same thing on the Missouri side as we're looking at a number of partially covered roadways and highways across southwest Missouri, and in McDonald County, at least at this point, still reporting some covered highways down there. So give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Heading for a high today of 11 degrees, partly cloudy skies with the winds blowing, though, dangerously cold wind chills of 20 to 30 below through the afternoon. And then tonight, the winds will start to calm down a little bit. We're down to 1 for a low under partly cloudy skies. And as we look ahead toward Christmas Day, we're heading for a high of 25, starting at 12, 23 by noon, 16 by 5. But again, some sunshine, partly cloudy skies on Christmas Day. So not too bad. We just got to get through today. So again, just today, watch out on the roadways because even with the sun, there's not a lot of heat. There's not a lot of melting that's going to take place. Got to let the plow crews do their job, and then just give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. And if you're going to be outdoors, layer up as much as you can and stay indoors as much as you can as well.
For sure. Just be safe out there.
Absolutely.
Do what you can. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, near blizzard conditions brought not only snow and freezing temperatures, but dangerous road conditions. And those road conditions varied widely across southeast Kansas. In Pittsburgh, we saw some drivers struggling with streets that were snow-packed and slick. On 69 Highway, drivers seem to have an easier time, but authorities caution you to slow down and leave plenty of room to stop because you can find slick spots anywhere. And the conditions are continually changing.
It started out pretty minor. We've had some slide-offs, a few little minor accidents. Lately, we've had some crashes that have come out that are getting a little more serious in nature as the roads have started to get worse.
Trooper Reddy says to stay off roads if at all possible, and if you are on the roads and go into the ditch, to stay in your vehicle buckled up. That advice also holds for today, especially with road conditions changing and temperatures remaining below freezing. Eastbound traffic on the interstate closed east of Lebanon in Laclede County when multiple semis were involved in a series of crashes around 2 Thursday afternoon. Up to 30 vehicles were involved. And in Lawrence County, Missouri, a tractor trailer overturned, blocking both eastbound lanes. Traffic was rerouted for a time near exit 38. Well, these sub-zero temperatures have caused a number of communities across the area to open warming stations available to the public. KOAM's Jalen Banks was able to speak with Watered Gardens and the Joplin Public Library on how they serve the community during this weather.
With winter weather hitting Joplin, Watered Gardens and the Joplin Library are opening its doors to bring warmth to residents.
Really wants to be a pillar in the community, a central place where people can go, not just to get books and movies, but to really be there for our community members. And so being open when it's so cold outside is another way for us to do that.
Watered Gardens typically serves around 50 people a day, but on days like this, they'll triple the amount of people that they serve.
Really, people, I mean, when temperatures reach a certain point, you're not going to get warm, right? No matter how many layers you have on, you're not going to stay warm. And then add on top of that snow, ice. This is the basics as it gets, keeping people safe and warm and even fed at this time. This is kind of a crisis need that we're trying to meet.
Watered Gardens normally will only feed its residents, but on a day like this one, they'll feed and have beverages to all.
I just really appreciate the opportunity that we able to serve people in this way, and I really appreciate the churches and other organizations in town that are opening up their doors as they can to provide a warm place for people.
In Joplin, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
Watered Gardens keeps its main lobby open for warming until the wind chill gets above 20 degrees. Well, it is Friday, and you know what that means? Christmas is just 2 days away, and that
Hard to
also means,
believe.
I know, right? This is the last day of this year's Pictures with Santa segment. All right, we're gonna kick it off with Allie and Henry Robbins from Pittsburgh. Allie is 5, and Henry is 3. Aww.
Up next, we've got the Vits. Gia and Jade are from Radley, Kansas. Gia's 4, and Jade is 2.
And then we have the Scott family from Pittsburgh. Dakin is 5. His twin brothers, Jennings and Breyer, are 5 months old. They look a little concerned there.
They do. They're looking at each other like, should we trust this guy? I'm not sure about this guy here.
If brother's here, it's okay.
Right, exactly. Well, Anavir Wenzel is next. Anavir is from Pittsburgh, and she is 4 years old, getting her photo there with Santa.
Now look at that big cheese. She knows Santa's just A-okay. And here is Aspen Sexton from Walnut, Kansas. 3 years old for Aspen. Aw.
All right, and we've got a party on our hands with the O'Briens and the Krotz. Josh and Amelia O'Brien are 6. Evie Krotz is 5, and Ann Krotz is 2. So a big group there for Santa.
All right, up next is McKenna McReynolds. She's from Pittsburgh and is 5 years old.
And wrapping up our Pictures with Santa segment this year is Aiden Yoakum and Creed Boyd. Aiden is 9 and Creed is 1. Both of them looking like they're having a good time telling Santa what they want for Christmas.
Well, Aiden is letting Creed know that it's okay.
He's
a safe guy. He's the one that comes on Christmas Eve.
Exactly.
Breaks the cold.
Well, we want to thank all of the families who submitted pictures this year, and we're looking forward to seeing some familiar faces 1 year older when we get your pictures in 2023.
Love the segment. And don't forget, you can head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com to check out all the Pictures with Santa segments that we've aired all week long.
Great pictures, too.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker is out of the cold and into the studio this morning to wrap up a super frosty edition of his Big 3 Stories of the Week.
In fact, he just got here right now. And we're going to take a look at your frosty forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Well, welcome back. It's time to close out the week with our own Shannon Becker and his Big 3 Stories. Welcome into the warmth of our studio.
My hands are still numb. In the morning, bad weather like this, we don't really do videos where we can drive around and show everybody the roads and stuff. So I was
and that's what you were doing all day yesterday.
And then driving a little slow today. Let's take a look at the Big 3, talking of road conditions yesterday. It was closed for about 4 hours on I-44. If you're talking I-44 East, it was closed in Lawrence County, it was closed in Phelps County, and this is Laclede County, up to 30 vehicles involved in this crash.
Wow.
From what I understand, I think only one person suffered serious injuries, but be careful out there. A lot of those big rigs out there when they hit those patches of ice. One other thing to remember, if you see a vehicle, even a semi-tractor trailer, it's wrapped in yellow caution tape. It's already been reported to authorities. Those tractor trailers are still in the median in a lot of places.
Now, did you head all the way out there?
No, we didn't go that far.
Okay.
That's about 100 miles away.
I was
that
going to say, you were on the road.
Some video from a friend of ours. But if you see a vehicle like just this morning, someone said, oh, mile marker 40 on I-44, that is from yesterday when a tractor trailer was in the median.
Right,
overturned on
but
its
those
side.
conditions are still there. I mean, we may
Yes.
not have anything coming down, but we still have a lot of stuff on the ground, and there's those patchy, icy spots,
Yep.
especially on those bridges.
Yep. And number 2, Joplin News First, our biggest stories of the week. It was the Wreaths Across America. It's a program that's gone on for years, but this is the first year that Webb City has been able to participate in the national program. It was a huge event. About 300 people showed up this last Saturday and placed wreaths on more than 1,100 veterans' graves.
Wow.
And Webb City JROTC, they normally help in Fort Scott at the U.S. Military Cemetery, but they assisted this time. So it was really, really special and neat to see. Great work by Travis Boyd and his crew there. Our number 1 story, Carl Junction Fire Department responded late Saturday night to reports of a crash. A vehicle had gone off the overpass approaching the Ruby Jack Trail on North Highway 43. It was a single vehicle crash, and the man was thrown from the vehicle. He died at the scene. More details, you can read about that at KOAM News Now and our Joplin News First tab. And our bonus story of the week, I had a lot of fun with this. It's an organization called Moving Mountains, and they do this every year at Gringos in Joplin. They raise money. Moving Mountains, it buys like school supplies for kids in Diamond School District. It also, you know, like a kid needs a coat, tennis shoes. Yeah, look at that. Aren't these pictures amazing? So funny.
Oh, was that little girl actually crying?
Oh yeah, she was terrified. She was totally terrified. You know those Santa pictures where the kids are all scared.
Yeah, I love it.
It was a lot of fun. Of course, raising money for a good cause. And thanks so much to Chris Parrish at Gringos for doing that. And Moving Mountains, you can read more about them and their amazing organization. They're a 501c3 nonprofit. You can make donations by the end of the year. You can find that on
How
our
long
website.
do they do this? Because I mean,
they do it for a couple of hours,
that's
just
a lot
one
of green
time in
paint.
December. Yeah. He's really good. He's really good, and it's
How
just
fun.
a lot of. And he acts like the Grinch, and the kids love it. So it's a lot of fun.
I bet doing this event makes his heart grow 3 times.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's possible. But that's our big 3 of the week. That's our bonus story also.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to have you stick around and join us again on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Sounds great.
Merry Christmas, by the way.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Lance Corporal Timothy Edwards. The Fredonia, Kansas native have served as a Marine since 2003. He was stationed in Fallujah, Iraq as a member of the Fox Company 3rd Platoon. To Lance Corporal Timothy Edwards, we thank you, today's 4-state hero.
All right, time for some Finally Friday birthdays in the 4 states. We begin in Pittsburgh with Liam Kreitz celebrating birthday number 2. Happy birthday, Liam.
All right, and we got Cadence Whitworth celebrating birthday number 13 this year in Chanute. And remember, Mimi loves you.
We've also got Javen Woolsey celebrating birthday number 17 in style there. Javen is celebrating Star Wars style in Altamont.
Like that. Whitley Buchanan celebrating birthday number 21 this year in Jasper, Missouri.
All right, we've got Micah Ohm celebrating birthday number 30 in Pittsburgh. This comes with love from Mom and Dad.
All right, happy birthday, Micah. Have to come out and celebrate with us. Scott Saez turning the big 5-0 in Pittsburgh. Hope it's a great one for you, Scott. Love your mother.
And Wally Jones celebrating birthday number 65 in Nevada. And this comes with love from your daughter, Amanda. Happy birthday, Wally.
All right, our neighbor in Crestline, Brent Jesse. Happy birthday.
We've also got Ted Garrison celebrating over in Columbus. Happy birthday, Ted.
All right, and Jim and Judy Ganaway are celebrating their 52nd anniversary this year. They're in Crestline.
And we've also got Tom and Yvonne Gettle celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary in Columbus. Happy anniversary to Tom and Yvonne.
Shade Schuberger turning 15 years old this year in Columbus.
We've also got Kelsey Thomas celebrating a birthday in Weir.
And Roger and Sandy Smoot are celebrating their 11th anniversary this year.
And wrapping out our list, we got Velda Asbel celebrating birthday number 85 in Miami with love from her daughters, and Angie Stalling celebrating a birthday in Webb City. You know, this list could always be longer, and Tanya's going to tell you how you can help us make it even longer.
That's right. All you have to do is submit them to either of our emails, and you can find these on our website on KOAM News Now. Just click on Community and then go to the Birthday Club page. And you can email them to birthdayswithan@KOAMTV.com or birthdayswithan@KOAMNewsNow.com.
And while you're there, make sure you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. You can get great deals from local businesses, and you get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. Just head over to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the Birthday Club today. And I can't go through today without mentioning this particular birthday. This is my wife and I's youngest, Ryan, our early Christmas present, celebrating his 6th birthday today. Ron mentioned that he's probably coming after my job, which is entirely possible. And as you can see, he'll probably deliver the forecast with a little more flair than what I usually do. But, you know, we got to celebrate. Happy birthday, Ryan. All right, I-44 and Range Line. Take a look. We still have some snow on the roads, and we still have these lights in flash mode here at the north diverging diamond. And as you can see, traffic's picking up, so make sure you give yourself plenty of time to stop. And make sure you do stop until MoDOT gets out there and resets those lights. You may have to do a little bit of scraping this morning, but it shouldn't be anything too crazy, which is good. A little bit of frost buildup never hurt anybody, right? Except for the fact that it's so cold out there. In terms of snow, yesterday we saw anywhere from roughly 1 to 5 inches across the region. So some of us got a little, some of us got a lot, but we all saw a little bit of the white stuff come down yesterday. We still have wind chill warnings, which is why today is also an alert day for us for Kansas and Oklahoma through 1 o'clock this afternoon, and on the Missouri side, they run until 6 this evening, and that's because winds will still be gusty today, causing temperature or wind chills to be 20 to 30 below. We're 3 below in Joplin right now with a wind chill of 22 below, so that's exactly what we're talking about. West wind is at 13. Across the region, it is dangerously cold, just to be honest. 5 below in Iola, Fort Scott, 3 Pittsburgh, 2 Miami, 3 Carthage, 3 Monette, and 2 below in Neosho. And you factor in the wind, feels like 24 below in Iola, 20 Chanute, 17 Pittsburgh, 16 Miami, and 22 Neosho, Carthage, and Lamar. KDOT still reporting some partly covered highways in southeast Kansas this morning, so if you're driving, slow down. Watch out for slick spots. Give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Same situation on the Missouri side. A number of partly covered highways in southwest Missouri. And McDonald County still reporting some covered highways down there. So again, just give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Heading for a high of 11 today. Will be partly cloudy, breezy, dangerously cold wind chill still. And that 20 to 30 below range as we've been talking about. Winds let up a bit this evening. We drop back down to a low of 1 under partly cloudy skies. And as we look ahead, we're up to 20 for Christmas Eve. 25 for Christmas Day, partly cloudy both days. Maybe a wintry mix on Monday and a high of 32. You see there's a warming trend here. I mean, wait till we get to Thursday. 44, partly cloudy Tuesday. Maybe some showers Wednesday, a high of 53. And then as we head into Thursday, we're looking at a high of 62 with maybe the chance of a few scattered thunderstorms out there. We have a lot more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Road conditions varied widely across southeast Kansas. In Pittsburgh, we saw some drivers struggling with streets that were snow-packed and slick. On 69 highway, drivers seem to have an easier time, but authorities caution drivers need to slow down and leave plenty of room to stop because they can find slick spots anywhere. And the conditions are continually changing. Eastbound traffic on the interstate closed east of Lebanon in Laclede County when multiple tractor trailers were involved in a series of crashes around 2 Thursday afternoon. Up to 30 vehicles were involved. In Lawrence County, Missouri, a tractor trailer overturned, blocking both eastbound lanes. Traffic was rerouted for a time near exit 38. And a number of communities across the area have opened warming shelters for anyone who needs them. Those shelters include the Joplin Public Library. During regular operating hours, it's providing access to warmth, books, computers, and other library offerings free of charge. Another Joplin Warming Center is the Water Gardens Outreach Center. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And we still have some partly covered roadways to deal with in southeast Kansas as you head out the door. Make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Watch out for those slick spots. We also have the same situation in southwest Missouri. A number of highways still listed as partially covered, and even in McDonald County, still reporting some covered roads down there. We do have an alert day for us today as we're dealing with the wind chill warnings. Kansas, Oklahoma until 1, and on the Missouri side through 6 is wind chills today still 20 to 30 below. A high of 11, partly cloudy skies, still very breezy, and as we head into tonight, we drop back down to a low of 1. We'll start to see the winds let up a bit too. We'll have partly cloudy skies. 7-day forecast shows us hope on the horizon. 20 for Christmas Eve, 25 on Christmas Day. Maybe a wintry mix Monday, 32. 44 by Tuesday. Maybe some showers Wednesday and 53, and then we're watching the possibility of some scattered thunderstorms, believe it or not, by next Thursday with a high of 62.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making jolly French toast bake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings next, and how this massive historic winter storm is barreling through much of the country, affecting hundreds of millions of people. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got Shannon Becker live in studio to recap his big 3 stories of the week. I wonder if any of them will have to do with the weather.
Weather's definitely been a big story of the week. And of course, we still have our alert day for today. We got the wind chill warnings. Wind chills, as I mentioned, 20 to 30 below. It's going to be a cold day. We still have some partially covered roadways. We're going to take a look at all of that and recap your 7-day forecast with those warmer temperatures on the way as well. And that's going to wrap it up for us for now. We're going to see you back here Monday morning at 5 a.m.
In the meantime, have a Merry Christmas weekend, and we'll see you again today at noon.